Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Tahir. This is Inspired RC. Today I'm coming at you with another how-to stroke informative video. As you can see, we've got the KRATON A-Test on the bench, and today's video is going to be about the stock shock setup on this car, and the way that Armour have it set up for you when you do buy this brand new, and the issues that I'm seeing and what I intend to do about it. So from Armour, when you buy this brand new, this car comes with 500 CST oil in the front shocks and the rear shocks. 500 CST is equivalent to 40 weight oil. I'm personally finding that the 40 weight oil might be a bit too hard on the car. Now it's quite, you gotta add a bit of pressure to push that down and up. Now when I'm out running it, and I'm running it on rough terrain, I'm finding it's jumping a lot on the back end, jumping about on the terrain as opposed to absorbing that terrain. So another issue I'm seeing as well when I'm out jumping it, I don't jump it that hard. I jump it quite lightly. I'm still finding it does tend to kick back up again, especially on the back end. So what I want to do is I want this car to absorb more of them hits. Now, by making the shock oil a bit softer on this car, we might have issues where the car might bottom out a lot more easier, so that the chassis underneath might sustain more damage. So there's a couple of ways of replacing the oil in this, or making the shocks softer. One is to replace the oil. So I do have some 30 weight 350 CST shock fluid oil. This is the same oil that is used in the Traxxas X Max A-Test. So I also own a Traxxas A-Test X Max, and jumping that as opposed to jumping this, that car tends to absorb the jumps better. It absorbs the rough terrain better as well. So I'm quite happy with the way that that's set up from stock, so I've not changed that. And I was just wondering if that would, if I was to make this one softer, it would give me a better driving experience. So as I said, there's two ways of making this car softer on the shocks. One is to change the oil. Secondly is, inside these shocks there are pistons, and in these pistons there are small holes in the pistons, and these holes, when the shock is compressed, the holes allow the silicone fluid to pass through and and it gives you the effect of absorption of a shock. Now on the Armour KRATON, the holes that are on the pistons are around 1.3 millimeters. Now what people have done or do as well are to drill the holes and make them a bit bigger, or just to replace the pistons with holes, with a piston that has bigger holes in it. That allows more fluid to pass through easier, and it makes the shock softer. Now the problem with doing that is I don't have any pistons, and if the other option would be to drill the holes, the current holes that are in the pistons, and make them a bit bigger. If I end up drilling the holes and making them bigger, and I find that this setup is not working for me, then it'll be difficult to revert back. What I would have to do then is I would have to stop trying different heavier, thicker oils in the car until I find one that works better for me. So because Armour have put 40 CST in there, I'm sure they've done their research, and I'm sure they've done their testing as well to see what was a good all-round oil to put in them shocks. So I'm not dead against having 40 weight oil in the car, but I want to just try a 30 weight oil, guys. So in today's video, what we're going to do is I'm going to replace one oil in one shot on camera. Then I'm going to go around and I'm going to replace all the rest of the oils on the car. I intend to go 30 weight at the front and 30 weight on the back. And then what we'll do is I'm hoping that that the weather permitting, that we can go out and do some bashing with this tomorrow, and just give it a test run and see how it goes, and hopefully report back to you guys. So yeah, I think we'll get started. So just before we start that, I just wanted to show you this. This is the manual for this car, and if you just look there, it tells you it's 500 CST, the oil that they put in there. So obviously in the manual it does show you step-by-step guide on how to do this. So good thing just to have close by when you're doing when you're repairing your RC cars. Have the manual to hand. So let's get the lid off. So each shock is held in by 2 screws. Let's get my pointer. One down here. There's one on the front there. What I'll do is I'll just pull this car forward so you can see it better now. Let's just get that out of the way. Right, there we go. So you get the 2 screws, one down here and one at the top there. Once you've undone these 2 screws, this shock tower would this shock itself would be able to be removed. So I'll get that done first. One out. As soon as you remove one of the shocks, the car will just drop down. Once that's done, remove the 2 screws. So there's actually 2 sizes there, guys. You can see there. So just make sure you put the right ones back in. I think there's a small one for the top and the larger one for the one at the bottom. Put them somewhere safe so you don't lose them. So now the shock should hopefully come out. There we go. Shock is out, guys. So I'll remove the car from the bench just to make it easier. Right, so I'll just set my workspace up now, guys, and I'll just get back to you. Okay guys, what I intend to do is not dispose of the oil that's already in the shocks, because I'm not sure whether I want to stay with the 40 or go with the 30. What I want to do is I want to keep the shock oil. So what I'm going to do is get a little container, something like that, put the shock oil into there, and then I've got a little bottle like this, and I've got a couple of these, and I just intend to fill these up and then label them up, put them to a side, guys. Right, so first of all, what we need to do is remove the spring and the spring perch as well. So we've got to remove the spring perch first. So pulling the shock spring back, you can just pull this up, and you can just see there's a gap. So the rest of this is all round, and just there's a gap. So what you want to do is you want to push the perch up the shock shaft, and then just slide it back so it can just slide straight out. Once that's out, then you should be able to remove the spring, guys. So I'll just do that quickly. So that's out. Shaft is out. Now I do see a bit of oil in there as well, so hoping it's not leaking or anything. I'm just going to give it a quick clean up anyway. Right, so next job is to remove the cap. So when you remove the cap, just be careful, keep it straight, because obviously it's got oil in there as well, so you don't want the oil just dripping straight out. And then once you remove the cap, you've got a diaphragm underneath there, so you don't want to be damaging that diaphragm as well, guys. That's the cap off there. And then we have the diaphragm itself. So you can see the diaphragm is seated quite well in there. So that's how we want to have this diaphragm seated when we come to putting this back together again, guys. Remove the diaphragm. See, it's got a little less oil, so I think it might well have been leaking a little. So we'll keep an eye on that, guys. So the oil that's in there is 40 weight, so I'm going to try and not throw it away and hopefully just keep it. So just empty the majority of it into your container first. Once the majority is empty, just push down on your shaft a couple of times, just make sure it's empty. And just get rid of any extra that's coming out of it. As I said, I'm going to be putting this into a container hopefully. So that's what you got now, guys. Alright, so there's quite a few holes there, looks like 8 holes. 8 holes in the piston there, guys. If I can show you or not. Let's see if I can get some light onto it. Just there you can see there's 8 holes in there. Each one of them holes is 1.3 millimeters, I think. I'm not too sure, and I'm not going to be removing it just to check the size of it, guys. So what you could do is drill them holes to make them a bit wider, so it allows your shock to be a bit softer, the setup, and then just put the 40 weight back in there and see how that goes. But we're not interested in that. We want to just replace the oil today, guys. So once the oil's all taken out, clean it all up, just put it to a side. So I said I've got the 30 weight oil shock fluid in there. Okay. This is 59 milliliters, this tub that I've got here, this tube. So let's see how much it's going to take. It doesn't actually say in the manual how much it needs. What I'll do is I'll do the front two first, making sure I've got enough to do the back two. If I don't have enough, I might just leave the back two as it is, stock, until I get some more ordered. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go right to the top, probably about, say, 2 or 3 millimeters from the top. I'll stop. How much have we used of that now? Might be around a third of it might have used. I can't quite tell. So I can tell you how many shocks I managed to get out of this one bottle once I do it as well, guys, so you know how much, or work out how much you need. So with the oil in here now, it's going to have some air bubbles in there, so guys, you're going to need to pump it a few times, make sure the air bubbles escape. Once that's done, guys, just keep the bottom out a touch, maybe a finger's width. We want to put, you have to make sure, guys, look inside, make sure there's no air bubbles in there. You might need to just leave it to settle for maybe 5 minutes or so, and just make sure you've got no air bubbles in there. So what I might do, guys, is just let that set before I put it all back together again. I've left that for a little while now, and I can't see any air in there now. So next step is make sure that you push your piston back in, and it's about a finger's width away from the container. So there's some of the shock shaft is showing on there, guys. Once it's in that position, it's time to put the diaphragm back on. With the diaphragm, you want to make sure that there's no air left in this container. So just push it on from one end, I think, and then just push it down. You will get oil seeping out, the excess oil. Just let it come out. We'll clean that up. So guys, make sure it's pushed down nicely, and it's got a seal all the way around. There's no air. There's nowhere for air to get into it. Take your time. Once you're happy with that position, put the cap back on. And be careful with this cap, guys. This cap is plastic and the container is metal. So if you don't get the thread right, you can cross thread it, and then you're going to have all sorts of problems. This then shock shaft is not going to be sealed anymore. Okay? You need this shock shaft to be sealed so it keeps the oil inside. And no air gets in there as well, guys. It won't be able to do its job properly then. So just take your time and start it off nice and gently. Make sure it's turning nicely on there, and it should just be easy. Just tighten it by hand, and then finish it off, tighten it by hand as well, guys. Just tighten it nice and tight though. So you guys, wear a pair of gloves, because you're going to get full of oil with this job. So once it's done, I've hand tightened that. I'm quite happy with that. It's not going any further than that. I haven't changed the collar or anything, so hopefully that should still be in the same place. Give the shaft a clean. So once it's all cleaned up, hands are a mess, guys. Okay. Let me just clean the hands as well. Make sure you've got a roll of some paper towel or something to hand when you're doing this job, guys. You're just going to need it. So now that the shaft, the oil has been changed in the shaft, now it's time to rebuild it. So first we're going to put the spring back on, and then we've got to put the perch back on again now. So the perch, same process, pull the spring back, slide the perch in from, you can see that section that's cut out is the section you're going to slide the perch in with, and then it should just hold sitting and locked together. So I'll just get this done. Right, okay, that was a bit more difficult than I imagined. I'm just going to clean my hands again. Right, so guys, pull the spring back, put the perch in, and once the perch is in, make sure the spring goes back inside the retainers on the perch, and then the whole thing should just lock back. Sorry. Next, what you need to do is you need to turn this round. Once you turn it around, it will lock back into its own place just here. And once it's in that position there, this perch shouldn't move. Well, it won't move from the bottom there anyway. So guys, that's one of the shocks done now, guys. Just to put it back on is the same way. You've got the 2 screws. Remember, you got 2 different sizes, so make sure you put the right one back in the right hole. Once that's done, guys, move on to the next one. So what I'll do is I'll go around now and I'll put this one back in as well, and I'll go around and I'll do the rest of the other 3 of these as well. And once that's done, I'll be back with you. Guys, I just want to point out something, an issue that I've come across. The shock shafts on the rear, the screws that hold them in are screwed in from the back here. So with them being screwed in, I've got the wheelie bar installed on this car. It's the OUTCAST 8S wheelie bar. This wheelie bar basically means that you don't have access to this screw anymore. So I had to remove the spoiler, and I have to remove the wheelie bar as well to get access to these 2 screws at the top of the rear shafts. Once I remove that, I can get the shafts out, and then I'll just change the oil in them. So I'll get that done, guys, and I'll be back with you in 2 minutes. Okay guys, this is now done. I've changed the oil in all 4 shocks. Something a bit worrying, every single shock had at least 1 centimeter of airspace at the top, so it's either leaking, which I haven't seen any evidence of that, or they haven't put enough when they put this car together in the factory, guys. So it might be an idea for you to go around and just check all your shocks and just top the oil that's originally in the shocks, which is the 40 weight oil, if there is any missing out of the shocks. So guys, now all 4 shocks are completely full. Now it does feel a bit softer, but you can't really tell when you're on the bench. So the true test for this is going to be when we take it out bashing tomorrow, hopefully, and we'll just see how it gets on. I have also installed some droop screws on this car as well. Now, some people like them, some people don't. The reason why I put them in is because I didn't want the shock shafts to bend, so I didn't want them to be fully extended, so when we do have some nasty landings, it's not going to be prone to bending. So that's the theory behind it. I mean, it's an easy thing. You can just take them out. It's not a problem. The way I've put them in, I'm hoping that it's not gonna eat away at the chassis, because if it does start eating away at the chassis, then you're gonna have to retune and make them right again, so both arms are exactly the right height for you and right settings. So let's get the body back on now. Guys, must do, make sure you've got a few set of these gloves, guys, because this was a very dirty job. Make sure your table, you've got enough coverage on your table so your oil doesn't go everywhere as well, guys. Yeah, so let's get it turned around. Just get you in a bit further. Right, okay guys. Right, you can see now. So guys, that does feel better to me now. I'm not having to push down as hard on there, so I can tell the difference on the front end anyway. As I said, the true test is going to be when we take it out for a bash. I do still plan on doing another mod on this car, so I have got some. I have got some of this joining tape, and I have got some shoe glue on order for this car, so I'm hoping that the shoe glue is going to arrive hopefully soon, and I'm going to be able to do you a quick video to show you how to shoe glue your KRATON 8S body and make it last for a lot longer. You can see there guys, it's quite clean, this body. I'm not really beating on it too much. I tend to use this for more speed runs and wheelies now that it's got the wheelie bar on there, and drifting. Superb drifting machine guys, love it. So I just wanted it to be a bit more all-rounder. I know that it's not a basher, but sometimes you do feel like jumping it, and it does fly really nice in the air as well guys. So it's got the 25 tooth pinion there, so it's got the speed to do all the jumps and everything as well. I just wanted the shocks to be able to cope with the jumps as well. And once I get the body done, hopefully I feel she's going to be ready to take on a skate park. So guys, that is it. We've done all the shocks now. I'm happy with everything. Oh, by the way, that's what came out of it. It is a bit dirty. Now, you can throw it away. You can just go out and buy it. It's not very expensive to get some of this, but I just put it into a container for now anyway. I ended up using one and a bit of these tubs of fluid. So it's a 30 weight 350 CST. So it's got about 60 milliliters inside one. So I'm assuming that each one of these shocks on this car, it will take up to 10 milliliters of shock fluid. So when you are buying shock fluid, you're going to need 40 milliliters at least, if not a little bit more maybe, just to top it up as well if you do end up losing a bit. So guys, I bought 2 of these and I've still got a good part of one left as well there, but it's not a problem because it's the same oil that goes into the X-Max as well. So I intend to do a shock rebuild on that as well soon, and make sure that everything's right on that truck as well. So I will be keeping this in my toolbox, and I think that's it guys. So if you found this video helpful, useful, then please like, share and subscribe. Guys, I'm going to be taking this out for a run tomorrow, so hopefully watch out for that video as well. Stay tuned for more bashing on this car now, more drifting and more wheeling. I haven't had this out for a little while. I've been bashing my X-Max for the last few days. I've just been itching to get this out. I didn't want to get it out until I changed the shock oil on it as well, just to make sure that everything's right on there. So I said the last mod on this left now. Last plan mod is to put some of this on the body and some shoe glue on there, so I'm going to be dropping a video for that soon as well guys. So please subscribe, please smash the bell so you're notified when these videos do drop, that you can watch them straight away. And yet again guys, it's been a pleasure, and I hopefully see you in the next video soon. See ya.